So I made a video with some tools to help you figure out if someone you know might possibly be depressed. This video is meant to kind of start the next step of, okay, someone that you love may be depressed, well, what do you do about it? Let's start with your main goal. You have to know what your main goal is. I would argue it should be to love them, not to fix them, not to change them, and this is very tempting, to feel good about yourself. If you go in trying to be like, yes, I will save them, I will be a hero, I will be a good friend, like, I hope you want to be a good friend, but you being a good friend should be about them and not about you. Keep that as the foundation of what you attempt to do, to love them, to support them, to help them in any way you can. So try to set aside time that you can spend together in a group setting or one-on-one or whatever activity is going to get them like used to being around you and to feel comfortable with you, because you can't just like barrel into that conversation as this person that they've like kind of spent time around and expect that to go well. And over the course of you spending time with them, they mention any of the depression symptoms that you've noticed, kind of like ask how that's been for them. Like if they're like, wow, I am super tired, you can say like, yeah, I've noticed you've been sleeping a lot. Or do you like not have a lot of energy recently? And just like be a person that they can process that with. Say back what they're saying of like, oh wow, that sounds really stressful, or like, dang, it sounds like you just don't have like that much energy to do things at all, and that really sucks. Reflective listening is your friend. They might not realize how bad things are or what exactly they're feeling until they get the opportunity to say it out loud to another person. And that can be something that's really helpful for them, for you to be that listening ear or the sounding board or whatever metaphor you want to use. Like you can do a service to them just by being there. Unless you know them well or it's an emergency, probably don't bring up depression in the first conversation. That tends to like shut things down quickly, particularly given like a lot of the stigmas around it. I would definitely do your best to help them feel safe with you first. That's a huge gift in and of itself. For someone who is depressed, to have someone they feel safe around is incredibly meaningful, even if that's all that it ends up being. If you do think that bringing up the topic of depression might be helpful, maybe mention it in a conversation that's not about them, and then just kind of see what their response is to it. Like see if they think it's real, it's treatable, do they see it as like a personal weakness? Like do they know people in their life who have had it? Like how much do they know? I have assumed people have a certain set of experiences or knowledge about depression, when that is most certainly not always the case. As with many things in life, people don't know or think the same things that you do. Maybe bring up Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or Carrie Fisher, because even if you don't end up having a conversation about depression, you will have a conversation about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or Carrie Fisher, and that will make both of your lives better. If you, reading this situation, think it might be a conversation they'd be open to having, you can start that conversation and say like, hey, you've been acting really differently lately for these and these reasons. That can sometimes be a sign of depression. Do you think that's something that's going on with you? If they deflect, don't pressure them in the moment. Make sure they always feel safe. It may be something that they already know about themselves, or they may be dealing with something different that's not depression, but they still need help with. There can be a lot going on. Don't bring too many assumptions to that conversation, because that's only going to hurt it. Know that you may or may not be the person to help them, and that is okay. It is not a sign of you not being a good person or being like a good friend. It may just be a sign that that's not where your relationship is at, or that's not a place that they are at with any person. But if you think you could be someone they could talk to and you could begin to help because you care about them and you want to help, then I would definitely take the risk, because it is such a gift to have a supportive friend or to have someone you feel safe around. With all of the caveats and disclaimers that I'm putting in here, I'm not trying to like get myself out of trouble if something doesn't go well. I'm trying to make sure that you don't accidentally barge into a conversation thinking that what you do is going to be helpful and what you do is not helpful. I don't want to put you in that position. I don't want to put your friends in that position. I want to make sure that you do things thoughtfully and kindly. And if you have that conversation and they disclose to you or realize that what they're dealing with is depression, you can start that journey with them, and I will make yet another video about that. Bye.